Hello and welcome to exercise 6 of Learn Python 3 the Hard Way. Now, as you know, you're supposed to go ahead and go through the text yourself and type this in. It's pretty much the same thing over and over and over again, just type it all in. And the videos are here to help you basically hack these scripts. I mean, figure out how to break them, how they run, kind of get your mind thinking like the computer. And this exercise is going to be very good for that. So what I'm going to want you to do is definitely make sure that you go through this line by line and you start writing out the comments for how everything is supposed to work. So what you should be doing is things like this. Assign 10 to types of people. Okay, and then you do assign x, assign, if I could spell assign correctly, the string to x, and then I would say inside insert types of people in the string, something like that. And you know what, come back here, correct this, I would say f string there. Now, I want you to go through this file and write out an English description of what's going on above each one, or use whatever language you like, but I'm going to use English. And the key here is that you're trying to explain what the computer is doing when it processes that line of code. Now, what you don't want to do is, if you don't know what a line of code is doing, don't write a weird, complicated description. None of these are really all that complicated. For example, if I did this one, it's just assign binary to binary. Okay. What some people do is, in order to make it seem like they know what they're talking about, they write a whole bunch. So they're like 5 paragraphs of stuff explaining what that one line of code is. If you see yourself doing that, then you don't know what that line of code is. It's time to go find out what that line of code does. Okay? So now let's cover a few things to figure out what is going on. When you are programming, when you're studying with my book, you're trying to learn good guesses as to what a computer is doing. But your brain is not a computer. My brain is highly trained, and I still have no idea what's going on in a computer. I gave up trying to guess a long time ago. Sometimes I'm pretty good at it, but these days I assume I have no idea. So what I do is I print. So I'm going to give you an example. This is kind of your first step into debugging. Let's say, you remember that mistake from the previous exercise? And let me just zap. I'll leave that there. All right, so I didn't do an f string, okay? Now, this is an easy to spot error, because once I come back here, do Python ex6. Okay, so it says there are 10 types of people, those who know binary and those who do not, okay? But notice this string is messed up. Now I look at that and I know right away I missed some place where I had an f string. So what I've got to do is find it. Now the difficulty in it is that if you just stare at the code, it's really hard to find that little f. Now imagine a really big code base, one where there was tons of places these strings are getting created, and you have no idea. So this is where your first level of debugging can come in. What you would do is, you would sort of guess, well, okay, it could be getting messed up at print, and it could be getting messed up at there. So, okay, we're going to do this. And this is fairly imaginary, but let's say, okay, we're going to do a debug message like this. We're going to say print before printing y. And then here, and then we're going to just do this, comma y. And then we're going to do print up here after assign y. Okay, you cannot figure out what code is doing by staring at it. You have to print. Print, 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 print. Don't take code that you haven't been able to figure out and you've just been staring at it, sitting at it, looking at it, hoping if you stare at it hard enough it will confess its problems. Instead, take the code and add print statements and print all the variables and keep track of where you're printing the variables. Now I like these little, greater than less than marks. You can use almost anything. Now when I rerun this, I have this mark here that helps me figure out where I am in the code. And I can say, okay, before printing, okay, after assign, oh, see, it's broken right after assign. So now I know where it's broken. Now I can come in here and I can get rid of this line really easily. And I can look at this line. I've done this. I go, okay, so it's broken there. It's broken there. I know it's broken here. And I can even come up and say like, okay, well, is it broken up here? No, I don't see the Y variable, so it has to be broken there. And then most likely I'll run into what the F should be. Okay, so what I want you to do is go through this, print out the English descriptions. Then, once you've got your English descriptions in there, I want you to break it the same way I did, and then pretend you're debugging with these print statements. Just practice writing them. It can be almost anything. Do it exactly what I did if you want. The idea is to kind of get used to or get introduced to using print to figure out what's going on by printing variables with those kinds of messages. All right, that's the end of exercise 6. Go ahead and spend some time on that, and I'll see you at exercise 7.